Hey, and welcome back to another video. So in this video, we'll be doing a direct point and shoot camera comparison between the iPhone 12 Pro Max and the Nokia Lumia 920. So for those who don't know, the Nokia Lumia 920 is a phone from 2012, a Windows 8.1 phone. Sadly, it was not updated to Windows 10. And it's also the world's first phone with optical image stabilization, so OIS. What it means is when you're taking a photo and you're not that stable, the entire camera housing module moves around to stabilize the image and correct any instability. So that was the first phone with optical image stabilization. This is going to be an interesting comparison because the iPhone 12 Pro Max is the world's first phone with sensor shift stabilization. So sensor shift stabilization is where the main camera, now this is the main camera on the 12 Pro Max. On the 12 Pro it's this, but on the 12 Pro Max it's this. So the 12 Pro Max is, and the 12 Pro Max is the only one that has sensor shift. The 12 Pro just has optical image stabilization. So the difference with sensor shift is it kind of says it for itself. Sensor shift, the sensor itself is what moves around, not the entire camera housing. So that's the new technology. I guess it uses less power. I think if there's any power in, I don't think there's power involved, but it's more efficient, and it does a better job apparently than optical image stabilization, than the entire camera module moving around. Just the sensor moves around. So it's the first phone with this technology, and I'm pretty sure there'll be more phones in the future to have sensor shift as well. Like I said, again, the 12 Pro does not have this. It's just the 12 Pro Max that has this. So it'll be interesting to see the world's first OIS versus the first SSS. I also have to point out something, and I cannot stress this more. This is a point and shoot camera comparison. Now, a lot of people have been telling me that you can make the photos better with Lightroom, blah, 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 using the Lumia's camera. You can put it into Adobe Lightroom. You can change the exposure settings. I understand that. I know that. But this is a point and shoot camera comparison, like the day-to-day user would have used it. Not everyone went home and plugged their computer to Lightroom, extracted the HDR. No one did that. Only a select few niche group of people would have done that. This is a point and shoot camera comparison. No settings on the Nokia will be changed, and obviously the iPhone does not have those settings. Everything is auto on the iPhone. None of the settings will be changed on the Nokia. Everything will be left such as on default. There is no HDR feature. The HDR is built in and it's kind of always turned on, but I can't technically confirm that because the Windows 10 update did not come to this phone, and Nokia kind of screwed the Nokia Lumia 920 users over. And the only way to get HDR photos out of this is by plugging it to the computer and then extracting it using Adobe Lightroom. But I think it's set on automatic. It's really kind of confusing as to what's happening there with the HDR setting. But the surefire way of getting HDR from this is by plugging it to Lightroom. But I think it's already set on automatic from the factory. But now that that's out of the way, the fact that it's just point and shoot, let's now jump to the specifications of the cameras of all these phones, of both of these phones. If you don't wish to see these spec sheets, you can jump to here to jump to the camera comparison itself on the timestamp above. But now let's move to the spec sheets. Okay, so first let's cover the specs of the Nokia Lumia 920's camera. So the Lumia 920 has a 8 megapixel f2.0 aperture shooter with a 26mm wide angle lens. It has autofocus and obviously optical image stabilization, the first of its kind. It has Carl Zeiss optics, as you can see here. And on this stainless steel band, it has Carl Zeiss branding, Tessar 2.0 aperture, 26mm. It has a dual LED flash, but it's single tone. So dual LED, but single tone. So no dual tone flash there. It can record video at 1080p, but it's limited to 30 FPS. So no 60 FPS there. The front camera, though we're not really comparing, I'll just go over it. It's a 1.3 megapixel fixed focus camera with video recording at 720p at 30 FPS. My camera is kind of messed up. As you can see, there's dust in it, but we're not really comparing those two. I'll just put a few photos of those, but the real main star of the show here is the back camera, so that's fine. And that was the rundown of the camera specifications for the Nokia Lumia 920. So now let's discuss the camera on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Like I mentioned earlier, the main camera is what we'll be focusing on mainly. The other two cameras we're not going to take into consideration, to be fair to the Nokia Lumia 920. The main camera on the iPhone 12 Pro Max is a 12 megapixel f1.6 aperture shooter. It is also 26 millimeters, a wide angle lens, just like the Nokia Lumia 920. It has dual pixel and sensor shift stabilization, like I said earlier, the first of its kind. The 3D time-of-flight LiDAR scanner, I cannot turn it off. And as you know, it helps the camera with a lot of things like depth of field, color accuracy, etc., etc. So there's no way to turn it off, but we have to accept that this technology is here to stay and it's the future. So it's kind of a cheat, but because the 920 does not have that. But if I could, I'll turn it off, but you can't do anything about it. Like I said, there's not much settings to alter the cameras in the 12 Pro Max, unlike there is with the Lumia 920. So the LiDAR scanner is here to stay, but again, it's new technology. It's a part of the camera module. The 12 Pro Max has a dual LED dual tone flash. So we have dual tone flash in this case. It is dual LED, as you can see at the top there. It's more white at the top and yellowish at the bottom. It can record video at 4K at 60 FPS and 1080p up to 240 FPS, but we'll be doing the camera comparison at 1080p 60 FPS to be fair to the Nokia Lumia 920. The Lumia 920 can do a maximum of 30, but 60 FPS is the standard, so we'll be sticking to 60 FPS. That at 30 FPS, this at 60 FPS at 1080p, so we'll not be covering 4K video either. The iPhone 12 Pro Max also is the world's first phone with Dolby Vision HDR. So the HDR only applies to 60 FPS as well. So up to 60 FPS, the slow motion does not work with the HDR feature. So Dolby Vision HDR is a feature that amplifies the video quality by a huge amount. So currently everyone agrees, as at the time of this video, that the 12 Pro Max has the best video recording on any phone. Again, at the time of this video. So the Dolby HDR feature is a considerable boost for video recording on the 12 Pro Max, and there is no way I can turn that off. So again, it's a built-in feature and it's going to stay as is. And it's limited to 60 FPS, so that's what we're going to do. It also records in stereo sound. So the front camera on the iPhone 12 Pro Max is a 12 megapixel f2.2 aperture shooter with a wide angle 23mm lens. So it's 23 millimeters, not 26, but it's still quite wide. It has a bunch of sensors up top here that help with face unlock and all the other face detection features. And these sensors help with the photo taking of the camera, and I have no way to turn those off. They're all automatic as usual. The front camera also has HDR photo taking. You can take photos in HDR. The video on the front camera can go up to 4K at 60 FPS, and it can do 1080p at 120 FPS as well. So those were the camera specifications for the iPhone 12 Pro Max. And now let's jump into some photos. And just a pointer, the photos from the 12 Pro Max will always be on the left, and the photos from the Nokia Lumia 920 will always be on the right. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at all the photos. This also carries on to the nighttime photos as well. Now for some nighttime photography and video, like I said again, all the settings on the Lumia 920 are set to default, so nothing is changed here. Everything is set to default or automatic. And here are the samples followed by the video. So finally, that's it for this video, and I thank you for watching this camera comparison between the Nokia Lumia 920 and the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that like button as well, as it helps me out a lot. And also go ahead and check out my channel for all the other camera comparisons I've done in the camera comparisons playlist, which you'll find on my channel, and all the other tech related stuff that I do. And again, if you like what you see, please consider hitting that subscribe button, as it helps me out a lot. Also, let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see the iPhone 12 Pro Max compared to any other phone in a camera comparison, and I'll be happy to try and do that video for you. But until then, that's it for this video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thumbs up.